So for me, married, no kids, although I do have a fur baby that I'm madly, deeply in love with.
I'm
Shout
madly
out to Rudy.
I'm madly deeply in love with Rudy.
I think everyone's mad because he's crazy. And I'm a busy woman. You know, I'm up early. I work hard. I work long hours, 6 days a week. But you know, as real estate agents, you're kind of always on the clock. Whenever that phone rings, you kind of answer it. And I find it hard to manage personal and work life. Like I find it hard to keep all the people in my life happy. It just so happens that most of the people I surround myself are men. So like the work men in my life happy and the man at home happy. And it's kind of, or my parents, like it kind of always feels like I'm disappointing someone at some point. You though, like you got 2 kids and you're doing this hustle. How do you manage it all?
I disappoint.
What is the secret?
Yeah, the secret is you disappoint people every day. That's the secret. And I say that in jest, but that really is the secret. You disappoint people every day.
You're just okay with that, I guess.
Well,
just getting to that level of acceptance.
You're definitely not okay with it all the time. Another great mentor of mine said to me once, I have days where I can be a good wife, and I have days where I can be a good mom, and I have days where I can be a good realtor. But there's never a day that I'm good at all 3. And I think this whole concept of balance, which is largely like a female-driven discussion, right? You ask any man what his work-life balance is.
They would say, what?
They're like, what is that? And partially the reason that is because a lot of our men, including us, when you look at our lives, a lot of the men in our lives have support at home. They have wives there managing the home life. And I sometimes remind the men on my team, I am the wife. I think they forget. Sometimes I'm like, I am the mom.
Like, I am also those things. Yeah. Like I still go home and clean and do everything, right?
Yeah. So I think that, you know, being okay with disappointing people sometimes has to be a piece of your mantra if you're going to be a successful working woman, whether that's with children or without children. I honestly have taken this approach that I think balance is bullshit. I don't think it exists. I think that you have some days where you're better in one area of your life and other days where you're better in other areas of your life. And
do you feel like the priorities change too, depending on like the month or the scenario? You know, where sometimes you are putting extra effort in at work and that's okay. And then other times you're putting more effort in at home.
I don't personally. No. I mean, for me, you know, I'm a single mom, so my kids are my priority. And if something is happening with them that requires me to be there, I'm going to be there. Nothing really takes me away from that. Now, there are days where, you know, I'm on Zoom and there's a kid beside me like snotty and crying and I'm like, okay, get out of the shot. Like that happens. Or
my dog does that too. It's cute. Don't people like that on Zoom?
Well, I mean, so the funny thing is thanks to COVID, it is a little cuter.
Yeah.
But if you rewind 3 or 4 years and you've got a snotty kid on a screen with you when you're trying to host a business call and you're leading the call, these are my calls. I mean, I'm hosting the show.
It feels unprofessional.
Very much.
Yeah.
Oh, very,
especially
very
when
much.
you're, you know, it's all men on the screen with you and they don't have that same problem.
Of course not, because they have the support, right? Yeah. So I really think that the concept of figuring out what your priorities are is the number one thing you have to do. And, you know, to your point of like sometimes does work take a front seat? Yeah, there are times where I've said to my kids, guys, it's a busy week. Mom's going to be here, here, and here. But on Friday, we're going to do this to try to set them up for what the expectation looks like. And I try to involve them in what it is we do. You know, when we have, you know, photos with Santa at the office and I bring them in, you know, they know who people are. They know Uncle Chris. They know Uncle Jeff. They know Mr. Jazz. They know Miss Laura. They understand what this looks like. This affords us a life. This gives us dance lessons and trips to Disney. And, you know, they get it. Because as a working mom, I want them to understand that they have the choice to do whatever they would like to do, but it is a choice. I could also choose to stay home with them, but our life would look different.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're kind of instilling also like maybe a sense of work ethic outside the home? Should that be the path that they want to go down?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, what I'm cautious of a little bit is this concept of like work in the home versus out of the home, right? They have friends that have moms that stay at home. And so sometimes they'll say, well, so-and-so's mom doesn't work. And I'm like, no, she works, but she works inside the home. And I'm fortunate enough to have help. I mean, not every working mom does. I'm lucky enough to have help at home. You know, and so when my kids say, well, you know, so-and-so's mom doesn't work, I'm like, no, they do work. They work inside the house because I think it's important for the kids to sort of understand that. And I like to talk to them about the fact that they have choice. Your mom has chosen to go to work because it makes her a better mom. and so-and-so's mom has chosen to stay home because that makes her a better mom, and both choices are okay, but it is about choices. And there's pros and cons to both sides. And this idea of work-life balance, I think, is a total
Garbage.
garbage.
Okay, I like that.
Garbage.
Because I too think it's a bit of garbage. And like I said, I'm not juggling nearly as many balls as you are.